Welcome to Grab Coffee with me, presented by Dowden Golf Solutions. Today's guest is my guy from New York, Chris Masters, the executive director of Man Cave Health, and we're gonna take a deep dive into that. But we met at a golf tournament, right, several years ago, your golf tournament, and stayed connected ever since. And you travel as much as I do. So where are you today?
So I thought it was only appropriate.
There
That
we
is a
go.
golf course behind us.
There we go. Love it.
Yeah, and in New York, unlike Florida, we have a very short window. So for me, embrace these days, enjoying them. We've had an incredible summer, very busy on the work front, so I didn't get out there as much as I would have loved to. But yeah, I thought it was appropriate that we did meet through golf as a connection, and so really awesome to be with you today. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. But before we dive into more serious things, what is your go-to coffee order?
Yeah, I tell you what, in a world of venti, macchiato, caramel, oat milk, all that stuff, I am I am I am a simple man. I am a simple man. I am a dark roast with a little half and half, and that is religious
That's
every
it.
single day.
No sugar, no
No
sweetener.
sugar. No sugar, just a little half and half. Yeah, so I was thinking about that. It's a great question. When I think about memories, it's kind of when did I start drinking coffee? So I was a college athlete, wound up being one of the youngest college head coaches for soccer back in South Carolina. And I also, because it was a small school, had to be a resident director of the dorms. So my days would start very early with the runs for my team, and by the way, with the chaos in the dorms, would go to very late. So coffee became my friend, and so that's probably my favorite memory. Is just that's where it all started with me. And boy, I can drink a pot of coffee, and I'm good to go.
So take us from that point in your life to now being the executive director of Man Cave Health. Tell us about that journey.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably the worst person ever to go speak to someone at a college because they're like, "Oh, how was your path? You graduated high school, you went to college, you got and everybody thinks it's this linear thing, this line that's straight. And as you know, and I know, life is anything but a straight line, and it's got ups and downs. And by the way, the sooner people start to embrace that, the more enjoyment they find in life, the more, fulfillment they find in life. So for me, I've always kind of been around sport and using sport as a vehicle to achieve certain things. And some of that was my time coaching. I worked corporately for Adidas. And wound up growing to oversee a very large piece of business on the East Coast for what they called amateur sports. So always kind of been around this group of folks who are driven, and sport has always been a big part of their life, like it has been for me. But I've always used that tool. And then I got into some other stuff around media, and then those worlds just kind of collided. And I've really been in more of an advisory capacity to a lot of organizations, whether that's as a consultant, et cetera, but also even in my philanthropic endeavors and my charitable giving has been, how do I use the network that I built and all these driven, motivated athletes and personalities to better a cause, to, create movement within a cause. And frankly, that's what's led me to Man Cave Health, which is kind of the perfect storm, Ian, if you will, of all these years of, different twists and turns. And I really have found a home with Man Cave Health that's going to enable us to really impact a lot of men and a lot of lives.
Tell you what, you are, no pun intended, the master networker. I've seen
Wow,
it
I appreciate.
firsthand. It's amazing, and it's for great causes too. So it's been very impressive. But throughout your journey, uh, name one challenge that you faced and that shaped your path. Like, and how did you get over that challenge or that barrier?
Yeah, I mean, listen, when you're trying to do anything of significance, I think there's always going to be barriers, speed bumps, walls, whatever you want to call them. So we don't have enough time today for me to get into all of those because
Just one, just
trust
one,
me.
just one.
But I think my point in saying that, and then I'll give you the answer directly. The point in saying that is that's what builds resilience. That's what builds the ability to create things of impact and movements that are bigger than self. And so I go back to my time at Adidas and I tell this story. It was one of my, so interesting enough, I didn't take a single business course in college, which
Mhm.
is funny because I've run some pretty large pieces of business
Yes,
for
you
some
have.
very significant companies. And so you kind of go back to like, well, how did you do it? And I go, really it's about simplicity. It's about, God gave us two ears, one mouth. And while I'm capable of taking the air out of a room with the mic, as you've witnessed at time to time, I'm comfortable in that spot, but it's not a spot I desire. It's a spot because leadership entails that, or it's required of me to move things forward. But, it's not about that. It's about listening to people and ultimately hearing what, challenges they're facing and trying to solve them. So I'll go back to, we had a business challenge within the New York and New England territory where the number one dealer in New England, I was trying to build that business, and the number one dealer in New England at the time for Adidas was also the number one Nike dealer. Well, what do you think is going to happen there? He's never going to pull me out the same as he pulls out Nike. So it was 10x what he was doing. So I was like, well, I need to open somebody else up. So 15 minutes down the street was another guy that had been on me, and he had been calling and just persistent, but not in a bad way. I call it patiently persistent. You just stay on it, that drip technique. And finally I was like, listen, I need somebody. And this guy, I tell the story, was like, "Can you open me up?" I go, "Man, you're 15 minutes from my number one dealer in Boston." And I go, "But I need somebody that's gonna fight for Adidas and fight for me." Well, I went to my national office in Portland, Oregon, and I said to my boss, "I'm gonna open a guy 15 minutes down the road of a guy that's doing 6 figures in business with us." And they looked at me like I had 2 heads, Ian. But what I've learned is I've trusted my instincts and gut and the prep and the things that I've done to have success. I trust those things because they've proven time and time again, if you put in the work, you prep, typically things work themselves out. And so I'll wrap this story by saying I opened this guy up against probably the wishes of my boss. Within several years, even after I left, he grew to become the largest wholesaler in the country for the team business. And 5 weeks before I get choked up, before COVID, he sold his business, where both of his daughters who worked in the business walked away with a pretty sizable check and really launched them into the next chapters of their life. That's impact, Ian. It's having the boldness to make really difficult decisions, but
There
believing
you
in the
go.
greater
There you
cause.
go. Very true. Very true. So now let's talk about Man Cave Health, right? Your role as the
Yeah.
executive director there. I have seen the growth, and when we know that it's going to grow even more. But share with my audience what Man Cave Health is, and what your role is in that organization.
Yeah, so I think first and foremost, it's all about building community, and I think you're one of those guys. I mean, as much as you've kind of tipped your hat to me today, I will tell your audience the same. I mean, I'm on a call with a guy that really mirrors the same drive, passion, and commitment to building community for cause, and you do that exceptionally well. That's my role. We have a vision. Leadership, you have to make a lot of difficult decisions, as you know, as a business owner. You have to say no at times, and sometimes people aren't comfortable with no. But what we're really trying to find are people that have the same intentions we do and align with what we're trying to accomplish. And we're fortunate to have you representing us, on the advisory board. Which, by the way, the impact of that board and our other boards is going to be significant as we continue to grow. You've seen the growth quickly, and my role again is to share the vision, organize the vision with the help of my teammates, but also attract people like yourself who see that vision and believe in that vision. I keep saying the word believe. Um, you know, I think we're in a day and age where you can get distracted by a lot of things that will deter you from achieving what you set out to do. I believe that if you have a community of people like yourself involved in your project, you're not going to lose. You may pivot and you may change, but you're still going to get to you're going to overcome those walls, those barriers.
Yes,
And you're going
exactly.
to push me on days and I'm going to push you on days. That's what a team is, right? So that's my job, is to really attract the right energy around a cause that frankly is going to affect 1 in 8 men and 1 in 6 African American men.
Yeah. I saw a few posts and we talked about it as well, but Man Cave's Health, Man Cave Health's presence at the HBCU Classic, I believe, in that MetLife Stadium.
Totally.
Yeah, how did
Yep.
that go? That looked great.
Yeah, I mean, again, it comes back to finding partners that believe in the same mission. So Hackensack Meridian is obviously one of the partners with MetLife. They're the official partner for the New York Giants. I know you share that love as
Yeah,
well.
exactly.
Painful love, but you share that love. But yeah, so it was them. Prostate Cancer Foundation, who's another partner of ours, again, an organization that's been dedicated to research for many, many years. And then Robert F. Smith, many know him by him founding Vista Equity Partners, but really is one of the more philanthropic individuals in our country, committed to really uplifting under-resourced communities in a major way. And so having those teammates and partners is nothing short of spectacular, and it's what enables in a major event in a major city and starts to build on this platform. And by the way, don't be shocked if you see us at every HBCU Classic across the country. As you're aware, there's many. There's others in Florida and New Orleans and in Vegas and in the Boston area. So I anticipate Man Cave Health and our partners delivering this kind of education in access to testing across the country.
What are some of the trends that you are more excited about in your industry or this particular lane that you're in now?
Yeah, I would say if we have this incredible virtual support group that meets every first and third Wednesday, and some of these individuals dealt with prostate cancer for the first time over a decade, if not 2 decades ago. The advancement in medicine has been incredible. So what it looked like 20 years ago is not the same thing that it looks like today. So there's an important education component that we need to provide. Technology has improved and made outcomes that much better for men. So the fear is the thing that we're starting to bring down. Number two is getting men to talk to men. And as you know, that's a hard thing to do. But I will tell you, we most recently activated at the Alpha Phi Alpha conference, which is one of the oldest fraternities. They're just an incredible organization. They have 100,000 men globally active in their fraternity kind of organization. And they had 7,000 men descend on Philadelphia to meet and to come together. The thing that I was most inspired by, and I'm starting to see this at all of our events, is not a fear of prostate cancer, but understanding the simplicity of if they just get screened and have a baseline and understand, which by the way, I'm proud of you. I'm going to give you much props because me and your wife were probably on you, her longer than me, but we were like, Ian, you got to get screened. And it made a big smile on my face, as you know, when you called me to say that you went and got your PSA done. But that's really what it's about is getting and motivating and inspiring men to take ownership of their health journey
Yeah.
and doing it in a way that's fun.
Yeah. So it was you, my wife, my sister, my other sister, my other sister, my last sister, my daughter. But they also remind me that I have other testing that I need to do. But that was a start, and it wasn't about fear. It was really about making time. And what I love about Man Cave Health is that you go where we are. Right? We love sports. You have those vans, and we want
Absolutely.
to talk about those vans. And I know you just recently activated another van on the West Coast, correct?
Yeah, so there's really
Hmm.
4 pillars, as you're aware, as an
Hmm.
advisory board member, for Man Cave Health. It's the physical man cave, so think everything but the bar. So we'll build out the physical man caves. I said, number 2, is our virtual support group, which, like I said, has the ability to reach men all over the country. We are looking to launch a second one to accommodate the time zone in California, just the time difference, because we do them typically at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which would put you at 3 o'clock. So that's number two, the virtual support group, providing safe space to have very raw conversations, Ian, with other men that have either been through it or are starting to go through it. It's so powerful to have people that have experienced it share their own stories and trips and or tips and tricks to get through it. So then it leads us to events, and we started to say, great, we're doing a lot of high profile events. We've done the Rose Bowl, we've done NASCAR, we've done the Florida LSU football game. We actually returned to do Florida Tennessee. We've done auto shows. We've done the Milken Institute Global Conference. So we've done some pretty prominent big high profile events. But what we said was, how are we getting to men on a regular basis? And frankly, in a lot of ways, in under resourced communities. And so the van cave idea came up. And so what we're doing is not doing a clinical vehicle. We're building, really cool looking, like, I don't know what that vehicle is, but I want to see what that vehicle is. So, it's a Sprinter van with big tires and ladders and cool lights on it. And people approach the van going, what's going on here? And it opens the dialogue. It starts with meeting men in an environment that's comfortable, but also attractive. They were attracted to the vehicle. They're attracted to the game. They're attracted to the race or the auto show that we test at. And so we've got them in a comfortable setting, and we use these tools just to have a dialogue. And then if we determine they meet the criteria, we encourage them to get tested. And I'll tell you what, once we have the opportunity to talk to men and we educate them on how simple it is to get the PSA screening done, I say it takes you longer to fill out the paperwork than to actually get your blood drawn. So we encourage you to do it, and they typically do. Absolutely. It's going to be a great day. Not only are we going to test a lot of men and educate a lot of men, the Tennessee Vols are going to beat the Florida Gators. It's going to be great.
And you know what? Even though I live in Florida, I agree with you. I'm not a Gator fan.
Exactly. I know. Exactly. Exactly.
And so, what's one piece of advice you give up to others in your space, either as an executive director or just a leader of a nonprofit?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's advice I would give anyone. If you're really trying to do something of significance, it takes a team, it takes a community. And if you're trying to, it's the old saying, if you want to go fast, go it alone. If you want to go far, you got to build a team. And for us, we're growing fast, but we're growing with the right people and finding alignment and intention. So my advice always is to really find people that align with what you're trying to do and are intentional about their behavior and getting it done, and you will create a greater impact, and you'll break through any ceiling that you put or any goal that you put. I just believe in teams. It's the old athlete in me. And I did say old athlete. Tomorrow I celebrate, a birthday. So, an old athlete, but it's
Not going
just
to
one of
give. We're
those
not going to
deals,
say any
Ian.
numbers.
No,
So,
there's no numbers. 28 is perfectly fine. Um, but I will say, it's alignment and intention and building a community that will help you go far. That's my advice. Don't try to do it on your own, and don't be afraid to ask for help.
and outside of work, what keeps you motivated? What keeps Chris Masters going?
Yeah, let me start with saying this. This is my advice: is don't build your life around your work. Build your work around your life. And what I mean by that, when you embrace who you are as an individual and the skills and the strengths that the good Lord gave you, then you start to really find what people call the slot, right? There's nothing like being on the golf course and you're just on the birdie train. Or I don't know what that's like, Ian. I just want to let you know on the golf course.
Yeah.
But I've been at the free throw line where I couldn't miss,
Oh
or
yeah.
I've been in a
Yeah.
game where I'm on a stretch where I'm just scoring, like the goal looks really big. And so when you have that feeling, like you feel unstoppable. So I build all of my work. My work looks like it's integrated because it is. But my family, my friends, my faith, all those things drive me every single day. And then what I want to do is I go, how can I create the greatest impact for all those people? And that means A, I got to take care of myself. That's number one. Number two, and that's not a selfish statement. That is, if you aren't good, how are you going to be good for others? And so I'm fired up because I've got friends and family who also go, man, what you're doing is wild. It's like impacting a lot of lives. How do I help? My hardest thing is how do I incorporate all those people into that? So, but yeah, what drives me? Friends and family and my faith. Those are the 3 drivers. Yeah, I think first and foremost is A, start to follow us. I think it's all about learning and finding things that really are passionate. You know, your audience, just knowing the diversity of your network, probably have all sorts of passions, right? Some of it's gonna be kids, some of it's gonna be medical, some of it's gonna be resources. So you're always helping others and you see a lot of charitable giving. I think for your audience, A, follow us and learn kind of the work we're doing and see if it resonates with you. We would still love, for you to follow us, even if it's not something that's your number one passion. But if it is a passion point for you, we're going to start activating our board members to act as ambassadors within regions. We were in 2 states, Ian, literally 14 months ago. We will be in our sixth, seventh, and eighth states within the next 3 to 4 months, which is wild if you think about, we're a very lean team. But Ian, someone like you in Florida, right? I want community built. And it's so finding people like yourself who have connectivity to the community and an audience that will also support you, but also support the causes that are important to you and important to them as well. So, very simply follow us, learn our story, reach out to me if you've got questions about how we're operating, but we're going to continue to grow the number of events we're going to do. We have a great partner in UF Health. We've been approached by other medical systems throughout Florida, so it's a matter of time that we're going to be throughout the state. And then from there, you can volunteer, just like you're volunteering at the testing event that we're doing at the University of Florida game. I mean, how cool is that? You get to volunteer and be part of something special, but yeah, you get to be in an environment that's fun and kind of engaging. And of course, you and I, we love a little trash talk. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of that day with
Oh
Tennessee
yeah.
in town.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but we're going to find ways to plug you in based on the things that you believe you can contribute to our organization. So there's no pressure. We want you to find your slot within Man Cave Health of how you can be helpful and impactful. So that's interesting. Talk to me about that. Why that choice?
It was the first. It looked. I love coconut. I don't like
Okay.
shredded coconut, but I love the taste of coconut. But I needed a hot tea, and I was looking for something different outside of the black tea, the English tea, the mint tea, the tangerine. And I've never heard of the coconut oolong. I've had oolong tea before, but it's actually it's pretty good. So
So
I
you
will,
like to explore different
I would
types
love,
of
I
stuff.
love to
Okay.
explore.
Yeah, I'm the creature
You're
of
simple.
habit. Um, so so for me, it's kinda like the black T-shirt for Mark Zuckerberg, if you will. It's the one less thing I have to think about making a decision as a leader of an organization. So it's I'll save my adventures for the rest of, the growth in Man Cave Health. And listen, I just wanna say thank you for having me on. Do you have one last gem that you would share with me?
Kind of along the lines of what we've been talking about today, right? So challenges will come, but so will growth, right? So stay grounded, stay curious, and just keep moving forward. One cup, the one conversation at a time.
I think you just pulled a little Ted Lasso. I'm not
You
like a
like
huge
that?
Ted Lasso fan, but be curious.
You
That's
gotta be
the
curious.
really cool scene of the dart game.
Yeah,
Listen,
exactly.
at the end of the day, man, I think, just grateful for you, grateful for our friendship that has continued to evolve, and just the work you're doing out in the communities. Audience, please continue to support Ian and what he's doing, and, we would love your support at Man Cave Health as well, and just appreciate the time as always.
Thank you, Chris.